Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm going to do another little Rapture update right now. I promised that I would come back to the Rapture topic, which is popular for discussion, that I would come back to that whenever there was anything in the news or somebody sent me a question or something that I thought needed to be answered. I've done an awful lot of videos on the Rapture, so check those out, and then you might come up with some questions of your own that I'd be glad to tackle with you a little bit. Today, I just wanted to talk about, I've had some questions and I'm hearing more and more about, and I hear people say, wow, like, look at the fires in Maui and look how the entire city was destroyed and the devastation there. And it's like, wow, this means that we're close to the end times. And, I'm not really, even though I kind of wrote a book and I talk about some things when it comes to the timing of the rapture and looking at some things in the Bible, but I'm not really one and never really been one to look at things going on in the world and say, oh, wow, the rapture is coming now. Like the rapture is going to be this year. I have heard so many people say that 2023 is the year of the rapture, and they're kind of expecting not to be around by the end of the year. And different days have come and gone. Different what they call high watch days have come and gone. And I'm not really into that. I don't think that there's not a lot of scriptural evidence to be able to tie things one to one with what's going on in the world and say this is going to be the time of the rapture. I think there's some biblical evidences that you can look at, but to look at current events, I know that's kind of been fun for people to do that throughout my lifetime, looking at current events and saying that time is getting close, but yet all of these high watch periods come and go, and here we are still waiting for the rapture. But I think part of the problem is, everything kind of seems like signs of the end times, because the things that Jesus talked about were so general that they've applied to pretty much every age while we're waiting for the rapture. So short answer, no. I don't think the devastation in Hawaii and the fires there are indication that the rapture is going to be soon. I believe the rapture will be, fairly soon. Obviously, if you've listened to my videos or read my book, that I feel that the rapture will be soon. But I don't feel like that's a sign. We do have, when the seventh seal is broken and the trumpet judgments in Revelation come out, we do see something there where a third of all of in the third trumpet, a third of all of the trees and all of the grass will be burned up in that judgment, in that trumpet judgment. And so, yes, we see fire associated with the end times. And being originally from California and now, having spent some time in Colorado and Montana, I was visiting my brother in Montana the other day where there was 39 wildfires going on throughout the state, and it looks smoggier than Southern California with all the cars. And yes, you can get a glimpse from watching all of these fires of exactly how fire hailstorms could hit and cause a third of everything that burns to be burned up. You could totally see the devastation that could happen there. You could totally see that that's a possibility. And, the scripture tells us that that will be a future event. But no, I don't think these wildfires in Maui are a precursor to that. The only thing that I've really seen that is what I feel is a strong precursor, because what we really do is we don't, there is nothing that needs to happen. There is no signs of the rapture. That part of the coming of the Lord Jesus Christ is going to be like a thief in the night. It's going to catch everybody off guard. There's nothing that has to happen historically for the rapture to occur. It could occur at any time. There's no event that must take place before that occurs. Obviously, throughout history, you go to the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 AD, maybe something more recent like Israel becoming a nation in 1948. Obviously, that was huge because we see Israel talked about in Revelation, and there was no nation of Israel for a very long time, and so we see that is moving us towards the final days, and but these have never been like signs that the rapture is going to be like right now. It's coming. So obviously these fires aren't. And I just hear people talking all the time. Well, there was another earthquake, and there's all this financial discord, and there's all this rebellion in the church, and there's this, and there's that, and this means that the rapture is going to happen any second. We actually see that the wars and rumors of wars, and basically wars have been going on, and rumors of them throughout my life. But actually, and I've done a video on this, when you go through Matthew chapter 24, you see that, wars and rumors of wars and earthquakes and pestilence, that was all part of Jesus's prophecy to the disciples of when the actual destruction of the temple would be. And if you go back and look through history, you'll see that during that time, the wars and rumors of wars were going throughout the Roman Empire, as the empire was hitting its, those, first few century ADs, the Roman Empire was culminating, and their rob and seize nations and steal their wealth, that made Rome very wealthy. That system started to break down, and you had a lot of outside the Roman Empire forces, coming in and re-seizing Roman wealth, and it was really hard for them to hold on to their wealth, and it began to, the whole system began to break down and fail. But that was something that was going on in 70 AD. It would have been really easy at that time to say, the Lord is coming back really soon. So we're not really trying to figure out when the first part of the Lord's coming back, the rapture. We're not really trying to figure out what's happening in the world that will signify that. What we're looking at is what are some things that look like setting the world up for that final 7-year period, that tribulation period. Because the tribulation period is actually... that's what we can look at in the scriptures and say, these are the things that have been prophesied to occur. That 70th week of Daniel, there's a lot of things in there. And so we, can tend to look at current events and say, wow, that sounds a whole lot like, the tribulation period in Revelation. So the rapture must be close. And so, there is some validity to that. I would just share with you, like many years ago when I first started studying prophecy in the Bible seriously when I was 15 years old. I took an interest in it and started studying it way back then. I wanted to have firsthand knowledge and to understand the scriptures and to start developing my own opinions at a very early age. And so I've been studying this stuff for years. And I can remember in those early days reading in Revelation about the false prophet and the Antichrist, and listening to pastors preach about it, and reading books and listening to special speakers that would come do prophecy conferences and things like that. But the one thing that always struck me is they would always, like, I remember in 1967, the 6-day war in Israel, and anytime there was any kind of a hiccup in the Middle East, it's like, here we are, the tribulation's coming, the rapture's going to be soon. And by the way, there's another earthquake, and there's another war. And so all of these things just, high alert, it's going to happen. But even back then, I said, I don't see the tribulation being anytime soon, and so, you're looking at about 40 years ago. over 40 years ago. 45 years ago, I'm saying this as I'm looking at the scriptures, and I'm saying, I don't see the tribulation coming anytime soon. If you read, I have it right here, Revelation chapter 13. Let me just read it to you, and it says, and it's talking about the Antichrist, the beast to come, and it says, it performs great signs, and even making fire come down from heaven to earth in front of people. And by the signs that is allowed to work in the presence of the beast, it deceives those who dwell on the earth. So this is talking about the false prophet that is come and is doing great signs and wonders and promoting people to worship the beast, the Antichrist, and his kingdom. And by the signs that is allowed to work in the presence of the beast, it deceives those who dwell on the earth. A lot of people tell me, like if this comes down and I'm not in heaven, then I'll believe the Bible, then I'll believe Jesus, then I'll get saved. No, you won't. You'll be deceived. It's more likely that you'll be deceived. There will be great throngs of people will receive the gospel, don't get me wrong. But if you have a chance today in this life and you reject Jesus Christ, it's not likely that you won't be deceived by these lying signs and wonders of the beast and the false prophet. But anyway, and it was allowed to give breath to the image of the beast, so that the image of the beast might even speak and might cause those who would not worship the image of the beast to be slain. So I talked about this in an earlier video about how this was, maybe this is potentially the AI that we're talking about in the news so much today, about this artificial intelligence. And it seems like there might be an element of artificial intelligence. Not that they need artificial intelligence, because they have the ability for these to do these miracles and to control different physical aspects of the universe that God has given them the ability to do. And we see that in the book of Job, the powers that Satan has, even over the physical universe and over people and over minds and all these things. And so, but our artificial intelligence in the news today, that might be a sign of something that is coming down the pike that will be used when it comes to this unusual image that will talk. It seemed almost fantastic 45 years ago or more. It seemed like almost like a fairy tale or a cartoon. Now, with everything that's happened in the movies with graphics, and we see robots, and I mean, I can picture now a pretty lifelike image of the beast that is actually intelligent and connected to some kind of worldwide satellite internet source, where this image itself can track you down and slay you if you don't worship it. Kind of scary stuff, We don't know exactly what this is talking about. And I think for us to say, oh, this is it, so that means the rapture is going to be this year, I think that's a mistake, because time could go on here and more technology and things will increase. I heard somebody say the other day, the issue might be the technology is outstripping the things that we've read in Revelation. And so that, this will all have to happen soon, or the technology will be beyond this. But we don't know exactly what this will look like. I mean, hindsight is 20/20. Someday we'll look back and we'll go, oh, it totally makes sense now. We were getting a little too excited about things that, weren't really even there yet. But anyway, yeah, there's going to be this, fantastic image of the beast that must be worshipped. And it says it will cause both great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to be marked on the right hand or the forehead. And we've heard the mark of the beast. We've been talking about that for years. I remember when Procter and Gamble, came out with special barcodes for their products. Oh man, it was all around the church. The rapture's coming. This is the mark of the beast. And then we heard Bill Gates was coming up with a way to tag vaccines in third world countries, and so when COVID hit and we had the COVID vaccine, it's like this is going to be the mark of the beast, and we're just every little thing that happens, we're just jumping all over it and say it goes to this. But anyway, it goes on to say that this mark will make it so that no one can buy or sell unless they have the mark and the name of the beast or the number of its name. That's where we get that it's 666. This calls for wisdom. Let the number of the beast have understanding and calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of man, and its number is 666. So exactly what this mark is and how the number of the beast name 666. There's been some pretty crazy stuff, out there lately coming back. It was around many, many years ago, but it's coming back into vogue now where, Nero was the Antichrist, and, you can jump through some hoops and make it happen where the number of his name is 666 and all that. But no, that's not it. We're not there yet. But the one thing that I was saying even 45 years ago is like, I don't think the rapture is going to be all that soon, just because I don't see one man. I don't see a system or anything in place that could allow one man to control buying and selling all over the world. There wasn't even personal computers back then. Of course, now we can obviously look at it and say, wow, I could see this happening. I definitely, the technology is there that one man could control all commerce in the world. I don't think there's anybody that doubts that now. I think that is actually one of the strongest signs that we're very close. But yet, I'm hesitant to jump up and down and say every little thing. Even if we were to go to digital currency tomorrow and everything I read says it's still a ways away, but we don't know exactly what this is looking like. And I will say we have progressed in 45 years where I'm willing to say this seems to be a sign, kind of like Israel becoming a nation in 1948, obviously a sign. And this probably one of the strongest signs is the whole ability of world markets and financial control of individuals is definitely in our world today. So I think we could say that as a sign. But does any one thing happen like the U.S. goes to digital currency in 2024? Does that mean, man, that the rapture's coming in 2024? No, it doesn't mean that. Because we don't know exactly what it will look like, then these things will be in place and how it will progress. If you would have asked me 45 years ago that what we're doing today, before the era of personal computers, I can remember my first years in college, I was doing card punch for computer programs. And then we graduated to CRTs, and I thought it was the greatest thing in the world. But it took me forever to write a bingo program for one of my classes. Not thinking world dominance and control even back then when it came to this stuff. Couldn't have even imagined how far computers have progressed, and just the speed and the ability of the internet to connect the world and all of these things. And so, yes, I definitely feel like these are signs of the time, but I just exercise caution. Yes, the fires in Maui are interesting. If you're a conspiracy theorist and you're wondering, wow, is this gonna... we live in a world that doesn't value human life as much as they talk about valuing human life. Behind it all, there's really a lack of value of human life. So I wouldn't be surprised when I hear that people would actually take advantage of other people and human life itself for greed and profit and things like that. But no, this has also been going on. Even if something like that conspiracy is true, this stuff has been going on even back in Jesus's day, and we can't just hang our hat on it and say the rapture is going to be soon this year because of all these signs. All these signs. Look at what's going on in Israel. That the Psalm 83, the Ezekiel 37. These are coming. This is it. We're there. I would exercise caution in doing that. I would just say for this update, I would just emphatically say no. The fires in Maui are not a sign that the rapture is soon. Anyway, praying that you have Christ, that you receive Christ, that you repent and give your life over to Him, so that the timing and the final outcome of all this stuff won't really matter. Either way, God bless.